Hey everyone, Brian from Blackseed. Thanks for joining. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We just hit a milestone on Instagram. Finally got 1,000 followers. And I'm responding to everybody. Love talking to people, especially about muscle cars and trucks. I may even be responding to some of those fake Russian girl profiles. Don't judge me. Today, I in the shop, just kind of want to run through a couple things on the fuel system. I'm on a lot of C10, 1500 Facebook pages, and I see everybody's asking about fuel tank and the notch, right? When we're talking about bag trucks, what kind of fuel tank are we using? Or even if you're just trying to get it out of the cab, what are you doing? And I wanted to show you my setup because it's really cool. And I went one direction and then I kind of flipped it and went with the Sniper, so my fuel system changed a little bit. So again, I'm running a 385 stroker with a Holley Sniper system. And that's kind of self-contained in a lot of ways. So I want to show you the Sniper, but I want to show you what I have on the table. These are some really nice pieces from Holley. Your fuel regulator, fuel pump, and they have this in different sizes, and you can also get in a twin, just depending on what fuel system you need. I had two of these. One of these is on the truck. This should be the 100 micron. Yeah, so these are 100 micron billet filters, and they use a 8AN fitting on each end, and I'll show you the one under my truck. The 100 is used as your basically your pre-filter to your fuel pump, and then there's a 10 micron you'll use as your post filter. However, I went from this setup. I was going to frame mount this and use this regulator. The Sniper has an internal regulator, and then I ended up using one of the filters and buying an in-tank pump, right? So I'll show you that here in a minute. I'll show you my whole fuel system on the truck. But these are actually really nice pieces depending what you're doing. If you don't have the option for an in-tank pump, this is really nice. I just don't know how loud it's going to be, right? And if you frame mount it, I'd probably use some kind of bushing setup to make sure low vibration. And these are really super nice regulators. I like the look of them too. And then they have a bracket that mounts it to a firewall. So that's nice, and of course all designed for fuel injection. These are, you can get different, I think different Holley regulators to bring it down a little bit if you're using it for a carburetor. So I kind of want to start up here at the front. There's really not a whole lot to the Sniper itself, right? So when we went to wiring it, there's just a couple harnesses. I think it's a 5 or 7 pin and like a 10 pin harness on it. One of the harnesses is used for kind of optional, right? So I use one wire and one harness just to control my fans, because you're able to control at what temp they come on and change that in the handheld computer on the Sniper. Let's see, you can probably see it's a little computer, little handheld piece. I think I showed that the other day. I'm still looking for mounting position. And it actually has its own mount here. You could Velcro to, up under your truck or up under your dash and hide it, and then just pull it out when you need it. Honestly, we put one on another car, and we put it in the glove box because after setup, we're really not messing with it. There's no reason to mount it on your dash and monitor it. Or I don't think there is. Maybe there is for something else, but so the Sniper has an internal regulator. So it has an internal regulator on it, so that eliminates my regulator. And then when I moved to an in-tank fuel pump, it moved to the back. But again, the harness is in the back, and I still got to clean that up a little. There's just two, and simple to follow instructions. And everything, it comes with, I think this is the one plugged in. It comes with a temp sensor. It's on the other side. I have two temp sensors here. There's one for the Sniper and one for that Dakota Digital setup. Just two hoses. There's a return and a feed line on the back, AN fittings. And these come in polished black, or kind of the you know, the gold that's on the Holleys. Honestly, the finish isn't, I mean, it's like powder coated clear over a polished aluminum. There are some superficial scratches in it, but a lot of that's going to be hid by the air filter. Still working on my throttle pedal and everything, but as far as the fuel system goes, you have a couple hoses, return and feed, that come off the back. That's basically it. I run mine down underneath the truck. I'll show you that. So that's just my frame mounted pose filter, and as you'll see, this is high up on my frame. Outside of the frame, driver's side, it's probably saying about under the floorboard, just forward of the seat, right? So I got as far forward as I could and keep it serviceable, and then we ran the injection hose through an AN fitting. On the back side of it, we're using compression fittings from Summit and aluminum line, and then it runs up over the frame towards the back. So my main thing is I want to run a hard line as far as I can, just for return and the feed line. A lot of injected cars will have a 5/16 inch return line. This is just 3/8 return and feed line. It is usable. A lot of people use just the stock stuff when doing LS swaps into cars, but a little different, right? I'm kind of starting from scratch. So 3/8 up, 3/8 back on the fuel line. You saw the filter. That's my 10 micron filter. It's post filter. I ended up buying, and this is kind of the biggest thing, right? You're looking at a truck that has, you know, like a 10-inch notch in it. What do we do with the fuel system? What do we do with the fuel line? So what I have is a Boyd's custom fuel tank. And it's extremely popular with the 60s and early 70s pickups, but they're custom tanks. A little on the pricey side, but they're awesome. So really nice tank. What I ended, and if you look at the mounting flanges, it's made for this truck, and they know you're going to put it in with a notch. Bridge notch, right? So there's plenty of clearance. My fuel pump, came with it. I think the whole setup is around like $700 though, with the aeromotive 340 fuel pump. That's actually a tank's sending unit. That's pretty neat. Unlike the old school stuff with the arm, that's just a tube that goes straight down the tank. Of course, AN fittings, an orb fitting, so basically your feed line sealed. Your pumps, I haven't finished the end of my nylon here. Feed line's the top line, and then I actually put the bottom one in for the return. So what the only thing I disliked is, see my rollover vent here, but this is supposed to be my return, but this tank has a baffle in it. I don't know if you can see it, so where this piece is welded, so you can't get your hand inside the tank. So your return, if you're fine with just putting a fitting in, dumping it back in, what I've read on fuel is you want to get your return under the fuel level. So mine is actually kind of a modified Holley setup with different parts, right? I think Holley sells, you know, those fittings, but on the bottom side of it, it basically has a for lack of a better term, like a straw on the end of it for your return line, and puts it down almost into the bottom of the tank. So I just drilled the billet piece, dropped it in there. It runs right alongside the fuel pump. I guess that's to limit, you know, the fuel getting bubbles in, getting aerated. Now I don't know how they'll work alongside the fuel pump. I'm hoping it doesn't cause any, vapor locking or anything. I don't think it will, but again, I've been a carb guy up until a couple of these, so I think I did it right. Just took extra precaution, tried to get the best I can. And no, I haven't removed the writing off of the fuel lines yet. At least it's still there. You won't see most of this. The other thing I want, so here's the thing for the C10 guys, they're doing this and looking. If I may make a suggestion, spend the money on this tank. Get the in tank fuel pump. And then the other thing, I actually have 2 rollover valves on this. The brass one, so they're check valves. If your truck rolls over, it closes and doesn't allow your fuel to escape. But in my street rodding days, this rollover vent is kind of 2 functions, right? One, it's a vent for the tank, and 2, it's got a check ball in it as well. I much prefer that one, and I buy it from Tanks Inc. versus the one that's in the tank. Also note the position. You're supposed to put your vent higher than your fill neck, right? And I'm going to leave my fill neck right here at the back. So that's kind of where I put that. And you see my 2 lines that go in. I'm going to move over here. You can see where I go from hard line again to the hoses up over the top. And then to the tank. And I got to fix the wiring where it comes down off the back and into my fuel pump. But that's got to be one of the nicest tanks. Fuel system. Let me see, I think I got one of these compression fittings over here. Pretty nice, first time using them. Also use a lot of Russell Performance stuff. And Earl's as well. I'll take these over to the bench. So different fittings for sure. So if you're going from an AN fitting to fuel injection hose, these work nice. It's this one's a -6 to a barb. -6 is what all the Sniper runs. Here's another style, same, the push lock. So as you can see for -6 fitting, this setup you push your hose on and this piece kind of terminates it. This worked pretty well for me. And then here is the compression fitting. See in the other end, so it uses a 6AN male, and then this would go to your hard line. Summit, everybody sells this. If you hit Summit, it's got a ton of brands, but it's a compression thing. So here's your ferrule. So I don't have any extra tube, but your tube slides into here, the ferrule across it. And then when you put it together, it just compresses the whole thing down. Works really well. Well, I say works really well. But I haven't put any fuel in it yet. It may spray fuel all over the place. Who knows? So that's pretty much it. On the 60s and 70s truck, look at Boyd Welding. They have extremely nice tanks, and the mounting, being able to just drop it on, stick 6 bolts through it, and it's mounted, is much better than dealing with those straps. I've dealt with those for years, and I hate those things. You can see how nice that is for the mounting. The other thing, one of the things up my air tank here, I have a template made. I got to go get this water jet. And then I'm going to end up bolting that in just in case I ever decide to paint. And I don't know if you noticed, but we'll lose this bed. We'll lose the bed entirely. We'll lose the front clip entirely if we ever decide to paint it. But that's going to be my mount for this seamless air tank. And the other crazy thing is, like, I keep looking at these straps. These are bothering me. But I got this idea. You could probably weld this on, but since it's an air tank, I really don't want to weld to it. But I was thinking like the stuff that body shops use to fix panels. It's basically an epoxy. I'm almost thinking I can lose the strap, epoxy that to the bottom, so all you see is the tank. No straps, and then I can bolt that to my plate. I may attempt that. I may completely screw up the tank. Who knows? I may try it though. That may be a cool thing, just kind of fix it up a little bit. But again, Sniper fuel system, lay it all out. And here's the other thing I'll say. Because I had the other fuel system, I did not originally buy the master kit for the Sniper, which comes with a frame mount fuel pump, fuel line, fuel fittings. So I didn't buy that originally, and it was a little bit more money. But in the end, when I had to kind of piecemeal all that together, the fuel line and the fittings, it was more money than if I would have bought the master kit to begin with. So what I would say is plan that out. Plan all that out. Make sure it's cost effective, right? Thanks for watching. Have a good night, everybody.